Welcome to the show, Cole Young. And how about a walk-off in your major league debut? What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome in to the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. The Mariners finally went an extra innings. They beat the Twins 5-4. They improved to 31-26 on the season, and they'll look to get a series win tomorrow with Luis Castillo on the mound. As always, before I go any further, do me a favor. Hit that like button. You know how much it helps out the video. Don't forget to hit subscribe. I'm on the road to 5,000. Let's celebrate the Cole Young walk-off by getting 5,000 subs. Couldn't do it without all of you, so thank you all so much for your support. And don't forget to comment your thoughts on the team and on the game down below. I do apologize for not doing a recap yesterday. I was at a family function. We were at a hotel room. Game ended late. Kids were already asleep. So there's really no place to do it. I wanted to, actually. Games like that I actually find very therapeutic to talk about. It gets all my thoughts and emotions out on frustrating losses like that. So for anybody new, I know people that have been with me for a while know I have no problem talking about games like that. But for anybody new, I don't shy away from talking about rough losses. So I'm not just back on here because the Mariners won and we get to chat about it. So although it is very convenient, isn't it, to do that? It feels like it's been a minute since I've done a video. I don't know why. It feels like there was an off day in there too. I know there wasn't, but it definitely has that sense and that feel to it. But a lot of good stuff today. A lot of unsung heroes in this game. Obviously, Cole Young's going to get the headlines, rightfully so. But we get Cal's 22nd home run. JP has a big home run. Gabe Spire was tremendous. It's going to be forgotten. I thought Colin Snyder was an unsung hero. We had the return of Bryce Miller in this one today. And most importantly, if the Mariners win and see they're back in first place, there was nothing to sweat about. All the people that, the Astros took first place and the Mariners will never take it back. Oh, they took it back one day later. Listen, I've said it before. I will say it again. It's going to be a long summer. Not in a bad way, but we are now into the dog days. The shine of a new baseball season is worn off. We have now seen highs. We've seen lows. We're going to see more. I'm not saying that you should just automatically be optimistic about this team. That's not what I'm saying. They could very well not get in. I don't have a ton of faith either. I've seen the Mariners for too many years to just believe in them automatically until they've proven it to us. But the division's going to go back and forth. Houston's going to be back in first at some point. Could be tomorrow. Texas may even sneak back in there at one point. There's going to be, punches thrown throughout the summer. It'll just be who's left standing when we get to August, September, and who's there and who's healthy, who's made the best deadline additions, stuff like that, that can help you get across the finish line. So it's not gone for good at all, even though, listen, last two nights and tonight, the Mariners, I don't think, are playing great baseball right now by any means. But it is nice to get a win because, I talk about the time with spiraling out of control and, a team losing 10 out of 12. Still haven't gotten to that point yet. They've managed to, even tonight, right? Looked like it was going to be a very frustrating loss again after the blown save in the ninth inning, and especially with no Brash, no Munoz tonight, both having pitched back-to-back days. Carlos Vargas pitches for a third straight day. Then you get into extra innings, and, the Twins have Griffin Jacks and Duran, who might be the best reliever in baseball. Him or Munoz. I might even take Duran. I might even take him. I mean, the dude is nasty. That's not a slight on any other relief pitcher. That's just how good he is. Meanwhile, the Mariners, we've got Colin Snyder and Casey Lawrence. So, you're not optimistic going in there, but they find a way, right? And that's how you avoid spiraling out of control. That's how you avoid a stretch where you go 7-18 or 6-14. And, maybe it's 9-12, which is what I think the Mariners are in their last 21 games. That's not great, but it's not disaster either. It's not anything that is, completely derailed the season. And that's the important thing. Now, when I talk about these things and not spiraling, you can't just keep, hit the microphone there. You can't just keep not spiraling for 120 games, right? You can't just go, they went 9-12. Oh, they went 8-8. Oh, they went 6-7. Oh, they went 5-7. Like eventually you're going to have to get back in a cycle of winning. And having those good streaks, but I think they will. Every team's got a couple good streaks, and then maybe minus Colorado. Everybody should find a little bit of magic at some point. So that's what you just hope for, that this doesn't, turn into something, like I said, where it just slides, derails, and you're off the road, kind of that bike analogy I used the other day, and that you do then get back into it and find a good hot streak. And who knows, maybe this is the start of it, because now you do flip the tables a little bit for tomorrow. Now the Twins bullpen is the one that's in a little bit tougher shape, right? Jax is probably available, but you may not have Duran tomorrow. I think who was the other guy that pitched? Stewart has pitched back-to-back days. Who was the guy that came in that fifth inning there? He'll probably be good to go. That guy was nasty. Varland. Man, the Twins bullpen is insane. It's one of those bullpens you can't even be too mad at the Mariners for not hitting them. There's just so many arms left and right. But, maybe the Twins bullpen now is a little bit more in trouble, where the Mariners, you probably have Brash tomorrow. You probably have Munoz. Spire and Vargas are probably down. But you've got your big two, and you've got a pitcher in Castillo that you feel pretty confident can go 6 innings for you minimum. So you should feel like you're in pretty good shape there. And I wouldn't be shocked if we see a roster move tomorrow, either to get a fresh arm up, or you do have Casey Lawrence who can eat a bunch of innings. But, it is funny how baseball can turn, right? Last 3 days or last 2 days. No, it was last 3, because they lost the blowout game to the Nationals. And then the extra inning game, and then the extra inning game yesterday. And as frustrating as it is, now you come back and you got a chance to win a series tomorrow against Minnesota, a really good baseball team. And truthfully, Minnesota could claim they probably could have won this game today. They had the early lead and everything, but I actually don't think the Mariners played a terrible game yesterday. And I can't get mad at Andres Munoz. Dude has been lights out all year. Does happen. It's frustrating. It was a 3-run lead and not like a 1-run lead where you can at least kind of, like tonight, as frustrating as it was, if it's not as implausible as Munoz blowing the 3-run lead. But they actually played pretty good baseball. Wu threw the ball well. Vargas and Brash did their jobs. Cal hits 2 home runs, and, they pull that one out and find a way to pull this one out. And we're probably, again, feeling pretty good. Now, they didn't, right? That is what it is, but at least for yesterday. But, I don't think they've actually played terrible this series overall, to be honest. Just some hiccups from the bullpen. And then today, some hiccups, but you didn't have your big guns out there. Let's get into the scoring recap. Then we'll talk about the Bryce Miller return and all that. In the top of the second, Matt Wallner back from the IL, homered on a fly ball to right field that scored Carlos Correa to make it 2-0 Twins. Same inning, Byron Buxton singled on a ground ball to center field that scored Willie Castro, made it 3-0 Twins. Bottom of the third, Cal Raleigh homered on a fly ball to right field that scored Ben Williamson, making it 3-2. Cal's 22nd bomb of the year. Another underrated performance today was from J.P. Crawford, who homered on a fly ball to right field in the bottom of the seventh that also scored Ben Williamson and made it 4-3 Mariners. Top of the ninth, Trevor Larnach singled on a ground ball to right field that scored Byron Buxton to tie the game at 4. Bottom of the 11th, Cole Young reached on a fielder's choice that scored Miles Mastrobuoni. Let's talk about Cole Young real quick. Really, really solid debut. I guess the Carlos Vargas, blown save allowed us to see Cole Young's first hit and a walk-off, so that's kind of cool from that aspect. But, his first hit I thought was great, 97 off a good pitcher, and Griffin Jacks went down. It was out of the zone and got it. Had a walk, I believe, against Alcala in the 7th inning. Good at-bat. And I thought his at-bat in the 11th was pretty solid. Sands tried to go up high with some heat, with some cheddar. Young was able to foul it away and stay alive. Didn't mind Young swinging at those pitches, trying to elevate the ball, drive him into the outfield, score Mastrobuoni on a sac fly there. I thought that was smart. And then doesn't panic and swing at that slider that was well outside, but could have easily panicked and tried to do too much and swing at it. We've seen plenty of Mariners on this team do that. And then does just enough, puts it in play. Listen, it wasn't crushed, but it was put in play. I mean, how many times throughout the years have we said, put the ball in play and we'll win, stuff like that. And Cole Young did that. And tremendous play by Ty France. I didn't realize he had barehanded it on the initial viewing until I went back and saw it. But bare hands it throws home. Nice slide by Mastrobuoni, safe, and the Mariners win. So impressive debut for Cole Young. And I think it was time. And I think it really helps the roster. And Cole Young doesn't have to be a superstar. If he can give you a 105 to 108 WRC plus, give you a slightly above league average defense, you've made a nice addition. Not all additions have to be Sotos and Otanis and guys like that. Now, those are great. They're great players. If the Mets and Dodgers want to give us those guys, I'll take them. No qualms. but it doesn't have to just be go get superstars. Sometimes you just need to fill holes. Second base is turning into a bit of a hole with solid baseball players. Look at the Mariners last year. Now, it ended up not being enough to get them over the top, but Ty France had kind of turned into a black hole a little bit at first base. They go out and get Justin Turner, who was really solid. He wasn't perfect, but he gave you a nice boost and a nice upgrade. You got to get better. You just need to get better. And I think Cole Young's going to do that. It allows Dylan Moore to play his multiple positions and still play second against lefties. It allows you to do things like pinch hitting for Williamson with Polanco late in the game. Now you have someone like Dylan Moore that can come in and play third base, and you still have a fairly legit bat in the lineup versus having it to be Rivas or Mastroboni, who should be more pinch runners, utility type guys. Rivas goes down, by the way, for Cole Young coming up. So it just gives you, it should help second base. I don't expect Cole Young to come up here and be the savior, although he was today, technically. He doesn't have to be. He's just got to be good. He's just got to be good, and that should help the team. I don't know if it'll be enough, but it's going to give them, I think, a nice little upgrade here. And, and we'll see what ends up happening at the deadline and stuff like that. But, yeah, I think it's going to help. I think it's going to allow Mastroboni to slide into more what we saw today. Pinch running for Garver. That's the right spot for him there. And Dylan Moore to fill his role out a little bit better. So I'm expecting some, not big things, but good things from Cole Young. And we don't need him to be, like I said, superstar. Just need him to be good. And I think the Mariners will be in really solid shape there. So Bryce Miller returns. Let's get into the box score here. Bryce Miller, 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 1 walk, 2 Ks. Going to be brutally honest, I thought he looked very similar to what we've seen so far this year from Bryce Miller. I don't think it was awful or anything, but I didn't come away thinking, man, Bryce Miller is back. The first inning looked pretty good. He actually touched 97. The splitter looked like it had more bite than we've seen from him this season. So came away from that first inning really encouraged. But then, he gave up the runs, which hurts, but the velo dipped. The splitter didn't have as much bite. I do think the splitter looked better today, though. I will say that. I thought that was the best I've seen it. Well, I don't remember Cincinnati if it looked really good. That was his best game. But I do think the splitter looked a little bit better today, but the fastball velo dipped. Gives up those 3 runs. But you could also say, listen, Wallner's a good hitter. Buxton put one back up the middle. It happens. And then he kind of wiggles out of trouble in the 3rd and 4th, deals with the delay. With the alarms. Which one of you pulled the alarm? Don't fess up to it. Or actually, don't fess up to it in the comments. I don't want to have anything to do with it. But deals with that. Gets through the 4 innings. How many pitches did Bryce throw? He threw 71 pitches, 45 strikes. Kind of a tough spot too with the bullpen being taxed. I'm sure Dan would have liked to get 5 out of Miller, but I get in his first start back, not getting too crazy. But even that, well, it was his first start back from injury. Sure, but was he injured or was it just more of a couple weeks off? Now, they did talk about a spur in the elbow, so I'm not saying at all that this was some sort of nothing. I'm sure Bryce is dealing with some stuff, and that may be the issue, and that's why he's struggling. But it seemed more like a dude, just take a couple starts off. Let's take a look, see if we can notice anything for you here and help you out a little bit. It's not like, I'm a little bit more forgiving with George Kirby because, one, I think Kirby's got a little bit better track record, although Miller was probably the better pitcher last year. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to pull everything up and look at the numbers. But, Kirby missed a legitimate amount of time, didn't have a spring training, and has missed 2 months of the regular season, had to make multiple rehab starts. Bryce Miller essentially missed 2 starts. He shouldn't be that, not sharp from missing that, if that makes sense. That how many times did I say that in that sentence there? But yeah, the first inning was encouraging, but all in all, I thought he looked kind of the same, so we'll see. Hopefully it gets better next time out, which should be in Anaheim against the Angels. Again, I'll give him credit, battled through it, gave up those 3 runs in the second, but didn't let it derail the start and kept them in the ball game. So, but I expect more from Bryce Miller than just, hey, he kept us in the game. Bryce Miller should be a legitimate weapon, not someone that you're just hoping to get through 5 innings for. And again, if he's hurt, that's different, right? Nothing he can do about that. But just overall, that's kind of where I'm at in Bryce Miller. Gabe Speier, like I said, kind of an unsung hero today, inning in 2/3, 1 hit, 4 strikeouts, no walks. Speier was phenomenal and even gave them a little bit of length in this ball game, which they needed with the short start from Miller and the pen being down a lot of guys. So fantastic job by Gabe Spire. Also, Casey Legamina was optioned for Bryce Miller's return. Don't have a problem with that either. Legamina's got options, and truthfully, the guys at kind of the back end, or not the back end, but like I guess the front end of the bullpen to me, Snyder, Legamina, Bizzardo, those guys to me, Casey Lawrence are all kind of the same a little bit to me. Lawrence probably a little bit behind those guys, but it's kind of pick your poison, which with each one, they're all okay. None of them are terrible. None of them are great kind of options for you. So, and it was just a numbers game. Bizzardo, Snyder don't have options to be sent down. So they're going to go with the guy that has options. That's why Legamina was sent down, and he pitched yesterday. So Bizzardo threw the ball well. Inning in a third, 1 hit, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. As good as we've seen Bizzardo recently, got the ERA down to 3.9. Do wonder if maybe we start seeing Bizzardo in some more like potential leverage situations. Not that I'm begging for it or anything, but he has been, I think, better as of late. We just haven't really noticed it because he's not pitching in a lot of critical situations, which could be a chicken and egg thing. Maybe that's why he's pitching better. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Jackson Kowar, a little bit of an unsung hero as well. Throws a shutout inning. He gets the 8th inning. A lot to talk about with Kowar, actually. The stuff looks really good. You can see why this is a guy that the Mariners thought really highly of last year before the Tommy John surgery. You can see the 97, 98 from him. The breaking ball didn't look incredibly sharp. He actually touched 99 at multiple points. The stuff looked really good. The results weren't great. I mean, the results are actually fine. What happened on the field wasn't great. He hits the first batter. That's not good. But then, Willie Castor hits a little parachute single at 65 miles per hour into right field, but then Clemens hits one hard over 100 miles per hour that's flies into a double play as they double up, I think, Wallner at second base there. Wallner had a tough day in the base pass as well with the Julio assist. We'll talk about that one as well. So, and then gets Bader. Couldn't quite put him away. Would like to see a little bit more swing and miss from Kowar. But again, second appearance back from Tommy John, having missed a year plus. But you can see why they like him, right? When he throws the baseball, you go, that's why they were really excited about Jackson Kowar. So if he can help, they've got some value from Carlos Vargas from the Geno trade. See if they can get some value from Kowar from the Kelenic trade. Now, Kelenic's been awful, so I think that, you don't need to necessarily get the value there, whereas Geno's been pretty decent for the Diamondbacks, but would be nice to get that. And the Mariners could use another arm in that bullpen to bridge the gap. And certainly out of all of them that we've talked about, that I just talked about, I think Kowar looks to have the most upside there. So nice performance from him, gutsy performance too, and only his second appearance in 2 years pitching the 8th inning. Carlos Vargas throws the 9th, gives up a hit. Gives up 2 hits, a run, no walks, and a strikeout. I thought Vargas was, sorry, my screen just moved weird there. I thought he was fine. Listen, the guy pitched for his 3rd straight day, so I don't think I saw anything that was frustrating from him. The only mistake he made was probably just should have eaten the ball in the Buxton hit, right? And should just said, whatever, let's move on. Because, even the hit by Trevor Larnach, which was hit hard at 104, might have been a double play if Buxton was at first base with the infield playing back. Now, Larnach may have approached that at bat differently with Buxton at first base, so you never know. But that could have maybe ended the game potentially. And it's not like Buxton crushed the ball. He hit one off the plate a little bit that, 50 miles per hour that almost got over the head of over Vargas. Just tried to make a play. One of two things there. Either got to eat it or make a better throw. I don't know what the option is or what the best option is, but either one is what you got to do in that situation. And of course, throws it down the line. Buxton moves to third and it's just like, here we go again. But considering, again, it was his 3rd straight day, gets Wallner out after 1st and 2nd after hitting Ty France. He did hit a batter. I thought Vargas actually threw the ball okay. It wasn't amazing, but, if that Buxton ground ball, Vargas makes the play on it, Mariners probably win that 1-2-3, and we're praising Carlos Vargas. So, or if he eats that ball there, we're going, hey, all he gave up was a little bloop single. So I thought Vargas is fine. And again, Colin Snyder deserves a ton of credit today. Let me pull up the box score again. It went away there. Yeah, a ton of credit today. 2 innings, gets the win, well-deserved, 2 hits, one walk, and a strikeout. Gutsy performance from Snyder as well, coming back from what I called, honestly, the worst pitching performance I think I've ever seen on, what was that, Thursday against the Nationals. I don't know if I've ever seen that many balls hit hard and almost out of the ballpark. And he had a throwing error too that game, which I forgot to mention. Got a little help. How about Julio on that outfield assist there? I wasn't even paying attention. Well, I was paying attention, but when Clemens had that base hit, I went, yep, 5-4 Twins. I didn't realize that there was a chance to gun him down at home. And then Julio with an incredible throw. Nice tag there by Mitch Garver. And Wallner, who probably should have been held up there, was out at home. Then the next inning, Jeffers hits one through the hole, and they hold up Bader, and then he gets out of the first and third, nobody out there. The cut with a strikeout in that inning. And then, what was it? It was a strikeout. Oh, and then the line drive. So listen, not perfect, right? There was a couple hits. There was a line drive that Rowdy snared there for sure. But I give Snyder a lot of credit for getting back up on the mound after that awful performance Thursday. And really not only helping the team get a W, but saving the rest of the bullpen. Now you've got your guys, like I said, ready to go for tomorrow. Let's move into the offense. Tremendous day for JP Crawford, 3 for 4, 2 RBIs and a walk. JP on base 4 times today, a double in the 9th inning, which looked like, could set up the game winner potentially. The 2-run home run, which also looked like it might be the game winner, and worked, I think, a leadoff walk against Bailey Ober in this game. So a tremendous job by JP Crawford, who has really been solid. He really has. We are getting that 2023 JP Crawford this season, which has been absolutely huge for the Mariners, and one of the reasons they are in first place right now. Nice game from Cal Raleigh, just continues to do his thing. 22nd home run, tied for the major league lead. Also works a walk. It was an intentional walk in the 9th inning, but I always say that you do work that walk. Cal was walked there because Cal Raleigh's really bleeping good, and that's why they put him on. So that walk absolutely counts. I don't know how he pitched that hit out, hit that pitch out from Bailey Ober. I thought it was at his eyes essentially, and Cal just drives it out to right field. I think even, if they were talking on the broadcast that Ober made his pitch in that situation, but man, is 2 home runs last night. Cal's, you know what? Cal's the MVP. I know Judge has more WAR, and I'm a WAR guy. Like, I look at it, but Cal's also playing catcher, which does give him more WAR. But the wear and tear there, if you're a Yankees fan somehow watching this, Judge is ridiculously good. But man, the fact that Cal, his OPS is over 1,000. Cal has just been incredible. Thank goodness he signed the extension this offseason, because he probably would have been a lot more expensive next year. But you know what? Cal's the type of guy that, man, ownership should just give it to him anyways. This ownership won't do that, but they should. Julio goes 2 for 5 with the outfield assist. But, in the biggest at-bat of the game, Julio strikes out with the bases loaded. So one of those situations where the 2 hits just would have been better served at better times. Listen, the Twins bullpen is so good. It is so good. Like, you're just not going to get a lot of stuff off of them. It's why it's impressive when you do find a way and find a guy that can get a run or 2 against them. It's why, like, yesterday want to finish that game, because you're able to get to the starter and get those runs on the board and everything like that. So you don't have to get into the back end of their bullpen. So, the stuff Jax was throwing, Julio, was really good stuff. Now, want Julio to come through there. I'm not saying it was a good at-bat. It was an awful at-bat. If he just stood there, I think only one pitch was an actual strike. But it's easier said than done when you're facing a pitcher that caliber. So these are always tough games for me to judge, because Julio technically on base at a 400 clip today with a couple hits and a huge outfield assist. So in that sense, Julio had a really solid game. But just, in the most crucial at-bat, struggled. And he had that bat in the 5th, too, against Varland. Another guy that just came out in the 5th inning throwing 99-mile-per-hour sinkers and, just nasty stuff all over the place. I can get mad at Julio for that bat, but he struck out Cal as well before, so it's tough. You'd like to see those 2 hits be in more of the crucial situations, but still not a bad day for Julio. Randy did have a bad day, 0 for 5. He did have the home run yesterday, and I've been kind of ripping Randy the last few recaps, and the one I didn't do, he had a decent game, but rough day for Randy. His at-bat was frustrating in the 10th inning there. Again, I know against one of the best relievers in baseball, but you got to try to find a way to at least move Julio to third in that at-bat. Something something to make it happen. So tough day for Randy. Rowdy 1 for 5. Mitch Garver 0 for 5. I'm done. His OPS is now at 579. There's no pop. His one home run is against a pitcher. He's got like 3 extra base hits. Funny enough, he's actually been pretty good behind the plate. Now listen, catching's tough, so it's not something where you can say, oh, DFA him, you can bring up Tyler Locklear. It would have to probably be, well, Blake Hunt was just DFA'd, so it'd have to be Harry Ford. Do they want Harry Ford catching part-time? You could probably DH Harry Ford as well because Polanco has been ice cold. I think you can probably find the at-bats for Harry Ford there between DH and catcher enough that he's not just constantly sitting. Might not be playing every day, but isn't sitting too often. So, I know it's a little tougher with Garver than some other positions because there's not just like a lot of catchers sitting out there, but it's getting really bad. And just, we'll see. I don't think it's going to happen yet, but I'm done. I was a little more patient with Garver because he's a catcher, because, he was walking a ton. Listen, not that I expected him to get a hit off Duran. Someone correct me on which one it is in the comments. I think it's Johan Duran, right? He had no chance in that at bat. I was just praying for a wild pitch. A lot of hitters don't have a chance against him. It's not just that at bat. And Garver's just up in too many critical spots. This video is running long, so let's wrap it up here. Master Boney pinch run, scores a run. Tavares was 0 for 4. Did have a nice bunt there in the 11th, almost beat it out. Got the winning run to third, and then Cole Young gets him home. Cole Young 1 for 4 with an RBI and a walk and the fielder's choice. So good debut for Cole Young. Nice game from Ben Williamson. 2 for 3, a couple runs scored and a double. Williamson's been swinging the bat a lot better on this homestand after a bit of a shaky road trip. Polanco was 0 for 1, pinched hit for Williamson. Dylan Moore came in defensively, but did not have an at-bat. Good win. Welcome to the show, Cole Young. Go win a series tomorrow. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, go Mariners. Peace.